Good day, everybody. Psychedelic attorney Greg Lake here. Welcome to the EntheoSK YouTube channel. I decided to go to an outdoor forum today. Me and Buddy have been meditating out here in nature and want to bring you a video on Harvard Divinity School's study confirming that MDMA, methyl dioxymethamphetamine, in the proper context and setting can serve as a religious sacrament, i.e. can impart divine grace, okay? And so I came across this research when I was writing my third book on the definition of religion under the First Amendment in terms of the sacramental consumption of entheogens. And so during this video, I'm going to give my context of which I use and have observed this data. But first, let's talk about the story of how this even happened, right? I mean, as many know, methyl dioxymethamphetamine was discovered by researcher Alexander Shulgin. I believe while he was working for Dow Chemical, maybe back in the 70s, towards the early 80s. But anyways, as many people know, towards the late 80s, MDMA eventually was placed on Schedule 1. Okay, now, prior to this time, there was a divinity doctoral student at Harvard named Elaine Lucas. Now, for her doctoral thesis, if I am correct, she conducted what is called the Harvard Agape Experiment, okay? And so this experiment was testing MDMA and whether it could be a religious sacrament, with the testing parameter being, does it impart divine grace, okay? And so, and let me just read the title, and I'll put the name of the paper up here, but it's Elaine Lucas, quote unquote, What is Entheology? Psychoactive Sacraments, Essays on Entheogens and Religion. Okay, and again, they named it the Harvard Agape Experiment, and what it entailed was a series of what we would otherwise consider sacred MDMA-based ceremonies, okay? And I want to say there was maybe 8 to 12 people per ceremony. Elaine Lucas asked the participants to bring items or totems which were important to them, like maybe pictures of deceased family members, family heirlooms, things of this nature, to set on an altar. I believe there was a fire. I think they brought roses to the altar and had an MDMA ceremonies, group ceremonies. Based upon subsequent examining and questioning of the participants, in fact, Elaine Lucas did conclude that MDMA, using the proper context, set, and setting, can in fact impart divine grace, i.e., can be a valid religious sacrament. Okay. Now we know later on, right? MDMA became illegal, and in fact, Lucas did not present this essay in this study, I don't believe, until 1995. There was a symposium, I think, in Chicago. I'll get some more information on that to y'all before this was even presented. Now, it kind of got lost to the annals of history in a lot of ways. When I was researching for my third book, seeing as a lot of the entheogenic churches and practitioners that I work with are multi-sacrament, with many using what otherwise people would consider synthetic sacraments. Again, I'm not here to get into a theological debate over that. But so in writing my third book, trying to discern the definition of religion under the law in the U.S., I obviously looked at that aspect. Can these otherwise synthetic man-made substances actually be used in the context as a religious sacrament? Okay, and so obviously, as an attorney and an academic, reading this paper, these essays by Elaine Lucas, was very compelling to me. I had no idea that Harvard Divinity School had been so into entheogens, right? And as many people know, both Harvard Divinity and Harvard Law School have now created the Center for they basically created a psychedelic religion center at the Divinity School, and then also there is a section of the Harvard Law School which is studying psychedelic law, including psychedelic religion law, right? And obviously through my career dealing with over 150 religious organizations and practitioners across the country, many have deeply felt religious beliefs and views and practices related to MDMA. Probably the most common comment or feedback I get on it is, oh, MDMA is a real heart opener. It opens people's heart. And again, many people believe, and let's just talk about the law real quick. Under the law, many people have this wrong. The court, the government, me, you, is not to tell anybody really what their religious sacrament is. It really comes down to, are they being sincere that this substance that they're using is meaningful to them and making a religious connection theoretically to some metaphysical force or higher power, okay? That's what the law is going to look at. Now, obviously, for religious protection, there's the health and safety diversion issues as well that always have to be accounted for. But on the front end, I just want to make it clear that there have been people who've claimed heroin was their religious sacrament, right? Now, their cases were tossed out for other reasons, but theoretically speaking, if someone was safely, sincerely not distributing heroin and saying they use it religiously, well, they would have a colorable argument in court. I know a lot of people fight about that, but it's true. Same thing with MDMA, right? And, MDMA is not like classic psychedelics, right? It generally doesn't cause visions or, visuals. I'm not even going to say the H word, because I don't believe in it. So a lot of people get the idea that, oh, well, this can't be a religious sacrament. It doesn't cause visions. Not so much, right? Because the feeling and the connection that one can feel both with another and potentially with the spiritual realm, even using MDMA, most definitely makes it a more believable substance that can be used. Now, when you couple that, right, with the fact that Harvard divinity doctoral students have actually researched and concluded these things, it becomes an even more compelling case, okay? Again, this video is not to advertise or promote or encourage the use of any illicit substances. Always follow the law. But I did just want to bring this up because I just found it so compelling and so interesting in my research that I felt it needed to be stated here. So anyways, that's all I'm going to do for this video. It's kind of a short one. Thank y'all very much if you made it this long. If you got the bandwidth, please subscribe. Got more bandwidth, please like and comment. Be very much appreciated. But I'm pulling out all the cool research files on y'all. We're going to start talking about those over the next series of videos. I thought this is one of the cooler ones for me that I ended up, stumbling across, thankfully. So just want to share it with y'all. Anyways, Psychedelic Attorney Greg Lake, Buddy Bear, we love you. Y'all have a good day, and we'll be back here shortly.